So this is Steve, and Steve is 37 years old now, and it's the year 2024, so this is now. And in Steve's free time, he likes to go to the gym, he likes to have some beers with his friends, he goes to the restaurant sometimes, and then from time to time, he goes hiking as well. So he goes hiking from time to time as well. However, when Steve was 10 years old in the past, in the year 1997, Steve did different things in his free time. He would play football almost every single day. Yeah, he would always play football after school every day. He would often watch television, and he would watch a lot of cartoons when he was younger. He would play lots of video games as well. So he was a big fan of video games, and he would play them whenever he had a chance. He would play these video games. And of course, from time to time, he would try to do some homework for school. So yeah, he would do homework only sometimes. So that is what Steve did when he was younger. This is Julie. Now, Julie is a bit older now. She is maybe in her 50s, 55, 56, something like that. But in the past, Julie used to be a cabin crew member on an aeroplane. So she worked on an aeroplane as cabin crew. That's what she used to do when she was younger. Now, in this job as a cabin crew member, she had lots of tasks and duties that she needed to do. She would serve drinks to the passengers on the plane. See, she would often have to serve different types of drinks. She would serve coffee or tea. Sometimes she would serve alcohol as well. As a member of the cabin crew, she would always be the one to close the door of the plane. After all the passengers had got on, she would always close it. That was her job, to close that. Sometimes she would have to comfort small children, because sometimes children get a bit scared on a plane. So she would go over to them and she would comfort them. And of course, another thing she had to do, she would greet all the passengers as they got onto the plane. So when the passengers got on the plane, she would always say, "Hi there, nice to, welcome." Those are the kind of things she would say to every single passenger who got on the plane. This woman here, she has a son, and this is her son today. Okay, so you can see that her son now is an adult. Her son is not a child anymore. Her son is an adult, and really now she does not have to take care of him very much. She doesn't have to take care of him. He can take care of himself. But it was different when he was a child, because when he was a child, she would hold him in her arms. She would have to hold him. Sometimes she would need to comfort him if he was crying or if he hurt himself or he had a problem. She would have to come over and she would have to comfort him there. She would cook all the food. So she would cook all of his food when he was younger. And she would have to do his ironing as well. She would have to iron his clothes and she would have to wash his clothes as well. This lady here, she is an adult now. Maybe she is in her 20s, 25, 28, something like this. But when she was younger, she would often go to visit her grandma. And her grandma would do lots of things when she came to visit. She would bake some bread for her to eat. She would always bake something for her to eat. Sometimes she would read her stories as well. You know, and every so often, just every so often, she would give her some sweets as well, or candy. So she would give her some sweets as well, only every so often. And from time to time, she would cook with her as well. Her grandma would cook with her when she was younger. This man here, he is a businessman now. So now he is a businessman and he works in an office. But he used to be a waiter. So his old job was that he was a waiter. He used to be a waiter. And when he was a waiter, he would do lots of things. He would serve drinks and he would serve the food to the customers. Sometimes by accident, he would spill some wine. See, there's a glass of wine here, and sometimes he would spill it by accident. Only every so often he would spill some wine. Sometimes at his job as a waiter, he would get very tired, you know. He would be extremely tired sometimes when he was working as a waiter. And sometimes he would talk with the chefs and talk with he would talk with the workers and the staff in the kitchen as well. Like he would talk with the chef, he would talk with the other people working in the kitchen as well. This is Sophie, and Sophie lives in the UK. So she lives in the UK, but many years ago, she used to live in Japan. So she used to live in Japan in the past. And when she lived in Japan, she would often eat sushi. That was one of her favorite foods when she lived in Japan. So she would eat a lot of sushi. Sometimes she would drink sake, which is an alcoholic drink in Japan. So she would drink sake sometimes. She would also sometimes sing karaoke with her friends. So she would often do that after work. And sometimes she would have to get onto the metro and get onto the really crowded metro, and she would have to be stuffed in there, stuffed in the metro between many people. Sometimes she would have to do that as well. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.